LeBron's exit just shook the NBA. LeBron James did not walk away from basketball. He walked away from the Los Angeles Lakers. And that one sentence may become one of the most shocking turning points of his entire career. Because this is not a young star chasing his first big contract. This is not a frustrated role player searching for minutes. This is LeBron James, the NBA's all-time scoring king. A four-time champion, a global icon, and the man who helped bring the Lakers their 2020 championship under circumstances no team had ever faced before. Now, after years in purple and gold, the message has been delivered. The Lakers can move forward without him. But the bigger question is not just where LeBron goes next. The bigger question is, why did it have to end like this? Because according to the noise surrounding the league, this breakup was not simply about age. It was not simply about salary. It was not even simply about basketball fit. It was about respect. It was about power. It was about a franchise quietly shifting its future toward Luka Dončić and Austin Reeves, while LeBron, still producing at an elite level, watched his role slowly shrink in real time. And that is exactly where Stephen A. Smith came crashing into the story. He did not treat this like a normal free agency headline. He treated it like a warning shot at the Lakers organization. In his eyes, Los Angeles may have made a business decision, but the way they handled LeBron looked cold, rushed, and disrespectful. A legend who still had something left in the tank was suddenly being asked to step aside, take less control, and accept a smaller place in a team he once carried. That is why this story feels different, because LeBron is not just leaving a team. He is leaving behind a question that could haunt the Lakers all season long. Did they just choose the future, or did they push away greatness too early? The front office can say this is about building around Luka. They can say the league belongs to younger stars now. They can say every dynasty eventually has to turn the page. But turning the page on LeBron James is not like moving on from an ordinary player. Every decision gets judged, every loss gets magnified, every great game he plays in another jersey becomes evident. And now the entire NBA is waiting. Miami is watching, Cleveland is watching, Golden State is watching, Philadelphia is watching. Every contender with ambition is asking the same question. If LeBron James is really available, how far would we go to bring him in? This is no longer just a Lakers story. This is a league-wide power shift, because wherever LeBron lands next, he will not just bring points, assists, and playoff experience. He will bring cameras, pressure, expectations, and a legacy so massive that one signing could change the entire direction of a franchise overnight. So now the Lakers have their new era. LeBron has his next chapter. And Stephen A. Smith has made sure nobody forgets how messy this ending really looks. Before we go deeper, let me know where you are watching from right now. If you think the Lakers disrespected LeBron, comment 1. If you think the Lakers were right to move on, comment 2. And if you want more NBA drama, trades, and breaking stories like this, make sure you subscribe, because this LeBron situation is only getting louder from here. How the Lakers chapter really began before the noise, before the criticism, before Stephen A. Smith started tearing into the Lakers on national television. LeBron James arrived in Los Angeles as something much bigger than a free agent. He arrived as a rescue mission. In 2018, the Lakers were not the Lakers. People grew up fearing. The banners were still hanging. The history was still powerful. The brand was still global. But on the court, the franchise was searching for direction, searching for credibility, and searching for a superstar who could bring the spotlight back to Hollywood. Then LeBron came, and immediately, everything changed. The expectations were enormous. This was not just about selling jerseys or filling seats. This was about restoring one of the proudest franchises in basketball. LeBron was expected to lead, recruit, produce, carry pressure, and make the Lakers feel dangerous again. That is exactly what he eventually did. The 2020 championship became the centerpiece of his Lakers legacy. It was not a normal title. It came in the bubble under conditions no champion had ever faced before. No home court energy, no normal travel rhythm, no packed arenas, no family comfort, just basketball, pressure, isolation, and mental toughness every single day. And LeBron delivered. That championship gave the Lakers their 17th banner and gave LeBron something only a few players in history could claim. He had brought a title to 3 different franchises. For Lakers fans, that should have meant permanent respect. For the organization, that should have created a level of loyalty that could not be treated casual. But in the NBA, gratitude has an expiration date. Over time, the Lakers started looking less like LeBron's team and more like a franchise searching for its next face. At first, it was subtle. A roster move here, a new offensive direction there, A younger player getting more responsibility, a front office quietly planning for tomorrow, while the legend of yesterday was still producing today. And that is where the tension started to grow, because LeBron was not washed. He was not finished. He was not simply hanging around for applause. He was still putting up numbers most players could only dream of. He was still reading defenses, still controlling tempo, still giving the Lakers elite production deep into an age range where most legends are already retired. That is what made the situation so uncomfortable. The Lakers were not moving on from a player who could no longer help them. They were moving on from a player who could still change games. And once that truth became clear, every decision after, it started to look less like strategy and more like a message. The night Luka changed everything. The real shift did not happen with one press conference. It happened the moment Luka Dončić became the future of the Los Angeles Lakers. Because once Luka arrived, the entire building changed temperature. Suddenly, the Lakers were no longer trying to stretch the LeBron era as far as it could go. They were trying to build the Luka era as fast as possible. That meant new priorities, new spacing, new offensive responsibilities, and a new power structure inside one of the loudest locker rooms in sports. Nobody questioned Luka's talent. That was never the issue. Luka is one of the most gifted offensive players in basketball. He sees passing angles before they open. He controls pace like a veteran chess player. He can score from everywhere, punish switches, manipulate defenses, and turn ordinary possessions into highlights. If a franchise gets a player like that, of course it starts planning around him. But the problem was not Luka's greatness. The problem was what his rise meant for LeBron. For years, LeBron had been the engine. Even when Anthony Davis dominated defensively, even when other players carried parts of the scoring load, the Lakers still revolved around LeBron's mind. His pace, his reads, his control, his ability to dictate what the game was going to become. Then, almost overnight, that changed. When LeBron was out, the Lakers' offense began running through Luka and Austin Reeves. The ball moved differently. The rhythm changed. The hierarchy looked new. And when LeBron returned, he was no longer stepping back into the exact same seat he had left. He was being asked to adjust. That sounds reasonable when you say it softly. But in the NBA, roles are never just roles. They are status. They are power. They are respect. When a player like LeBron is asked to move away from the center of the system, the whole league notices. Stephen A. Smith noticed immediately. To him, this was not just tactical evolution. It was a public demotion. A player who had earned the right to be handled carefully was suddenly being moved around like an aging veteran, trying to fit into someone else's timeline. And that is what made the story explode. Because if Luka is the new king in Los Angeles, then what exactly was LeBron supposed to be? A mentor? A third option? A luxury piece? A legend asked to stand in the corner while the next era took the ball? That is not an easy thing for any superstar to accept, especially not LeBron James. The third option insult. There are basketball adjustments, and then there are messages. Asking LeBron James to become a third option was both. On paper, a coach can explain it. Luka needs the ball. Austin Reeves has grown into a legitimate scoring weapon. The Lakers need balance. They need movement. They need to prepare for the future. They cannot run everything through a player in his 40s forever. That argument makes sense in a meeting room, but inside the emotional reality of the NBA, it lands very differently. Because LeBron James is not just another player aging out of his prime. He is the standard by which entire generations measure greatness. He is the player who carried franchises, controlled playoff series, changed the business of basketball, and remained elite long after time was supposed to take him down. So when the Lakers started leaning harder into Luka and Reeves, the signal was impossible to miss. LeBron was no longer the center. He was being asked to fit. That is the kind of thing players feel before they ever say it out loud. They feel it in the play calls. They feel it in late game possessions. They feel it when the ball does not come back. They feel it when the front office talks about the future and their name sounds more like history than direction. Stephen A. Smith understood that part immediately. His argument was not that LeBron should control everything forever. It was that a franchise legend deserved a cleaner transition, a better conversation, a softer landing. Not a sudden reshuffling that made the entire league wonder whether the Lakers were politely pushing him toward the exit. And that is why this became personal. Because when a player gives a franchise a championship, global relevance, and years of elite production, the ending matters. The tone matters. The respect matters. Even if the basketball decision is correct, the human side can still be mishandled. LeBron could have accepted a reduced role if it came with trust. But reduced role plus uncertain contract plus public power shift, that starts to feel like rejection. And once a superstar feels rejected, everything changes. The locker room feels it, the media smells it, rival teams wait for it, fans argue over it, Every possession becomes a symbol. Every quote becomes evidence. Every quiet moment on the bench becomes a theory. That is how a role adjustment turns into a franchise crisis. And that is exactly what happened in Los Angeles. The money sent the loudest message. In the NBA, money is never just money. It is respect. And for LeBron James, that may have been the part that hurt the most. While the Lakers were building their new future, the message became harder to ignore. Luka Dončić was becoming the face of the franchise. Austin Reeves was being positioned as a major piece. The roster was changing, the money was moving. The future was being planned, but LeBron's place in that future looked smaller and colder. That is why Stephen A. Smith pushed back so hard against anyone saying LeBron was simply chasing money. To him, this was not greed, this was about value. LeBron had given the Lakers a championship, global attention, elite production, and years of relevance. Even in his 40s, he was still performing at a level most players never reach. So when the Lakers appeared ready to move forward without treating him like a central priority, it felt like more than business. It felt like a message. Smith even compared the situation to Michael Jordan's early years in Chicago, when Jordan's value to the league was far greater than what his contract showed. The point was simple. Legends sometimes create more value than a salary can ever measure. And LeBron is one of those legends. He sells tickets, he drives ratings, he turns regular games into national events, he makes every franchise decision feel bigger, so if the Lakers wanted to move on, they had the right to do that. But the way it happened made the breakup feel cold, role reduced. Contract uncertain, future shifting. That combination told LeBron everything he needed to know. The Lakers were preparing for life after, and LeBron decided he would not stay just to watch them practice living without him. Stephen A. Smith put the Lakers on trial. Stephen A. Smith did not just react to LeBron leaving. He built a case against the Lakers. Every segment sounded like another piece of evidence. He questioned the roster. He questioned the timing. He questioned the way the organization handled a player who helped bring them a championship. To Smith, the issue was not whether the Lakers had the right to build around Luka Dončić. They did. The issue was how they handled LeBron while doing it. You do not quietly push a legend to the side and expect the league not to notice. You do not ask him to become a third option without understanding what that means. You do not shift the franchise toward the next era while the old king is still playing at an elite level. That is why Smith's criticism exploded. Some fans agreed with him. They said LeBron deserved more respect after everything he gave the Lakers. They believed the 2020 championship should have bought him a cleaner ending. Other fans defended the front office. They said the Lakers had to think about the future. Luka is younger. Reeves is rising. The NBA does not wait for anyone, not even LeBron James. And that is what made the debate so powerful. Both sides had a point. The Lakers needed a future. LeBron needed respect. But somewhere between those two truths, the relationship broke. And once that happened, Stephen A. Smith made sure the whole basketball world heard the case. The LeBron sweepstakes begin. Once LeBron James became available, the entire NBA changed. This was not a normal free agency story. This was LeBron. Even at this stage of his career, every serious team had to ask one dangerous question. What if he still has one more championship run left? That question was enough to shake the league. Rich Paul's list of possible destinations made the drama even bigger. Knicks, 76 ERs. Celtics, Cavaliers, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Heat, Warriors, Spurs, Mavericks. Suddenly, LeBron was not just a free agent. He was the center of the NBA universe again. Every team saw something different. Miami saw history. Cleveland saw a fairy tale ending. Golden State saw a dream pairing with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. Philadelphia saw a chance to create chaos. New York saw the biggest spotlight in basketball. Boston saw rivalry and legacy. San Antonio saw a mentor for the future. But signing LeBron is never simple. He brings talent, experience, leadership, and playoff intelligence. But he also brings cameras, pressure, headlines, and instant expectations. There is no quiet season with LeBron James. If he joins your team, the goal becomes winning now. That is why this decision matters so much. LeBron is not just choosing another jersey. He is choosing what the final chapter of his career will mean. Will it be about nostalgia? Will it be about revenge? Will it be about one more ring? Or will it be about proving the Lakers moved on too soon? Whatever he chooses, the NBA will be watching. The destinations that could change everything. Miami would be emotional. That is where LeBron became a true champion. That is where he learned how to handle hate, pressure, expectations, and still dominate. A return to the Heat would feel like history coming full circle, but the money and roster situation would make it complicated. Cleveland would be poetic. That is home. That is where the story began. That is where he left, returned, and delivered the 2016 championship. If LeBron goes back to the Cavaliers one last time, it would feel like the perfect ending to one of the greatest careers ever, but it would still need to make basketball sense. Nobody wants a farewell tour with no real chance to compete. Golden State may be the most explosive option. LeBron James and Stephen Curry on the same team would break the internet. For years, they stood on opposite sides of NBA history. Now, imagine them chasing one final title together. Add Draymond Green's intensity, and suddenly the Warriors become the most talked about team in basketball again. But that move would bring criticism too. Some fans would call it desperate, some would call it unfair. Every loss would become a national debate. Then there is Philadelphia. The Sixers would bring pressure, noise, and urgency. If LeBron chose Philly, the message would be clear. He is not going there for memories. He is going there to chase something immediately. Each destination tells a different story. Miami is the past. Cleveland is the heart. Golden State is the dream. Philadelphia is the gamble. And LeBron's choice will reveal what matters most to him now. The Lakers must now prove they were right. The Lakers got what they wanted, a new era. But now comes the dangerous part. They have to prove it works. Because moving on from LeBron James is not just a roster decision. It is a public challenge to basketball history. The moment Los Angeles chose Luka Dončić as the future and allowed LeBron's chapter to close, the franchise placed itself under a microscope that will not go away. Every Luka performance will be judged against the shadow of LeBron. Every Austin Reeves contract discussion will come back. Every playoff loss will sound louder. Every defensive breakdown will make Stephen A. Smith's criticism look sharper. That is the price of moving on from a legend before the legend is ready to disappear. The Lakers can tell the world they are younger now. They can talk about spacing, pace, long-term flexibility, and building a system around Luka's brilliance. They can say this is how smart franchises operate. They can say emotions cannot control championship planning, and maybe they are right, but being right in July does not mean anything if you lose in May. That is where the pressure lives. Because Luka is not being asked to simply play well. He's being asked to justify the end of LeBron's Lakers story. Reeves is not being asked to simply score. He is being asked to prove the organization was correct to invest in him as a major part of the future. The front office is not being asked to simply make moves. It is being asked to show that the plan after LeBron is more than financial flexibility and hopeful headline. That is a brutal standard, but the Lakers created it. If they win, the narrative changes. People will say the timing was cold, but the vision was right. They will say the franchise had courage. They will say Luka was the future and the Lakers were smart enough to recognize it early. But if they fail, the questions will be ruthless. Why push LeBron out? Why rush the transition? Why build a team that cannot defend at a championship level? Why let a global icon leave if the replacement plan was not strong enough to survive the playoffs? That is why this season matters so. The Lakers are not just chasing wins anymore. They are defending a decision, and LeBron, wherever he goes next, will be the ghost standing in every conversation. The lesson behind LeBron's breakup with the Lakers. In the end, this story is bigger than LeBron leaving Los Angeles. It is about how a franchise says goodbye to greatness. The Lakers may have made the right strategic decision. Luka Dončić is younger. He can carry the next era. Austin Reeves gives them another strong piece. Financial flexibility matters. The future matters. No team can live in the past forever. Not even a franchise with banners, legends, and a history that feels larger than the league itself. But even when a team moves forward, respect still matters. That is the lesson. A franchise can be right about basketball and still wrong in how it handles people. A front office can plan for tomorrow and still damage the relationship with someone who helped build yesterday. Because in the NBA, players are not just contracts. They are memories. They are sacrifices. They are late playoff nights, injured minutes, locker room speeches, impossible shots, and years of pressure carried on their shoulders. LeBron gave the Lakers a championship. He gave them relevance. He gave them elite play, global attention, and unforgettable moments. He walked into Los Angeles when the franchise needed direction, and even if everything did not end perfectly, he still left a mark that cannot be erased. That does not mean he deserved control forever, but it does mean the ending should have felt cleaner. And for LeBron, the next choice is about more than winning. It is about peace, purpose, dignity. Does he want to go home to Cleveland and close the circle where it all began? Does he want to return to Miami, where he first learned how to become a champion under maximum pressure? Does he want to chase history with Stephen Curry in Golden State and create one of the wildest final chapters the NBA has ever seen? Or does he want to take a bold risk in Philadelphia, where every game would feel like a playoff argument? Whatever he chooses, it will define the emotional tone of his final year. For the Lakers, the mission is simple. Prove it was worth it. Build around Luka the right way. Give Reeves the role that matches his strengths. Fix the defense, add toughness, create chemistry, win meaningful games when the pressure is highest. Because if they do not, every LeBron highlight somewhere else will feel like evidence that they let a legend walk away too soon. And that is the danger of this kind of breakup. You cannot erase the past just because you are excited about the future. You cannot ask fans to forget what LeBron did just because Luka is here now. The smartest franchises know how to honor yesterday while still building tomorrow. They do not let pride turn into disrespect. They do not let business decisions become personal wounds. They understand that legacy is not only measured by championships, but also by how people are treated when their time is ending. Maybe nobody has to be the villain. Maybe the Lakers needed a new future. Maybe LeBron needed a new chapter. Maybe both sides reached a natural ending, but the pain came from how long everyone pretended it was not happening. That is why this story matters. Not just because LeBron is leaving, not just because Stephen A. Smith is angry, not just because Lakers fans are divided. It matters because every dynasty, every superstar, every franchise eventually reaches this same crossroads. Do you hold on too long? Do you move on too fast? Or do you find a way to separate with respect? The Lakers chose their path. LeBron will choose his next one. And the rest of the NBA will judge both sides by what happens next. If you think the Lakers made the right move, comment 1. If you think LeBron deserved a better ending, comment 2. And if you want more NBA drama, trade rumors, and powerful stories like this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe because LeBron's Lakers chapter may be over, but the real storm is only beginning.